about trading Forex is that you don't actually know exactly which trade is going to be a crazy winner or just another loss.
What's up, everybody? We are currently live.
We'll take away the weekly.
Trace back down to order evidence that price is going to be bullish.
Point sort of chasing the market. I was more than happy to stay flat.
Hello everyone.
What the kangaroo toe?
Always recommend trading on the 5 minute.
Some of these exotic pairs and pretty steady uptrend, making these higher highs and higher.
Mostly trend following.
The stimulus in a certain way.
Welcome. Good morning. So we're gonna start off with GJ. Moses, I see you in the chat. What's going on? We're gonna start off with GJ. Graphed this trade out earlier, a couple hours ago, and it played out pretty well. So I'm gonna start with that, and then we'll talk about gold and US 30, and then the unemployment news. So I'm just gonna clear off my chart here. All right, I'm gonna bring it back in replay mode back to 7 o'clock. All right, so I'm gonna show you what we had here. So if you go on the daily, you seen price did come up, right? But it looks like price is rejecting off the EMA here, right? So if we come down to our 4-hour time frame, you can see it a little better, right? You can see that price had this build up and it's starting to reject and it's starting to come down, right? You can see this bearish engulfing starting to form. Okay, so if we go to the hourly, right, let's check this out. Check this out. Price was consolidating, right? Go down to the half hour consolidation, right? And then on the 15-minute, this is what I seen. So again, when I first came on the charts, I basically just said, okay, well, price is sitting on this huge support here. Hasn't broke it yet. We're ranging, between here and here, right? So let's see if it wants to come down. So then I looked for a trend. So I said, let me get my trend line. I said, all right, price is on this uptrend. Again, it's rejecting. It made a lower high, right? So you see this high here, a lower high. Once again, it rejected off the EMA again. So I'm like, all right, we got to be going bearish. Come on now. Right. So if you look at the next 15-minute candle, if I put it in play, not that one, this one, there we go. All right. So right here, you can see that price broke through the trend line. But did I take an impulse entry? No, because, I like to look for some more confirmations. Just because it broke through the trend line, it could have just came right down to here, right, to this support and bounced up. And that's exactly what it did. What I'm looking for is a retracement so that I can get in at a higher price for a sell. So once you see price make a high and then make a low and bounce up like that, this formation of a candle is beautiful for a Fibonacci. It's literally perfect. So I grab my Fibonacci, I take the last high, take the last low, right? And what I'm looking for is, let me delete this. Let's delete that, delete that. I'm looking for price to come up into the retracement zone, right? And this area I made gold on purpose so you can see it. This is the golden zone for retracement. It could come up to the 0.78 right here. But, where we really like that sweet spot on the fib is at the 0.5 and the 0.6 zone, right? So I'm looking for price to do this. Come up in this spot somewhere around here and then smack it off the backboard and come right down, right? That's what I'm looking for. So if we look at the next candle, let's put it in play. Bang. What's that called? That's called a tweezer top, right? So tweezer tops are reversal candles. So if you zoom in here, you can see that price made a tweezer top here. It's not perfect, but even if you go down on the 5-minute, if you break this down, what do you see? You see price rejecting, right? You see price breaking down. You see the next candle rejecting to go up and breaking down, right? So this is a really good impulse entry right here. So, we checked off all of my confirmations personally. So this is where I took the sell. have your stop loss above the last high, right? Because realistically, price should not come up, price should not come up above this high if it plays out in our favor, right? So it's a 6 pip stop loss. I always say go for 10 pips. This would be 10 right here. So I'm going to put a line, right? That'll be 10. But we have to remember that the Fibonacci gives us suggestions, right? So the Fibonacci says, hey, we suggest that you enter here. That's where they suggest that you enter. And then they also suggest that you take your TP here, right? But you don't have to go based off of that. You can kind of formulate your own thing off of this. So I'm going to delete that. So what I do is I go into 15 minute and I like to look for what's the next support zone, right? So the other thing I'm looking for is for price to break through this zone, right? Because if price breaks through this zone, that tells me I got in at an early entry. You know what I mean? That's just a sniper entry right there. So if we look left, we see price coming up. We have 2 little supports right here. So, you don't have to be petty. You don't have to take each support. But, if you want, you can take the higher one, if you want to be a little frugal. But again, it's only like a couple pip difference. You could just put it there. It doesn't really matter. All right. So now that we graphed out our trade idea, let's just put it in play. There we go again. Boom. Price is rejecting. That's nice. We like that. Next 15-minute candle. Boom. So, at this point in time, what you can do is you can put your trailing stop in profit, right? You can put your trailing stop at break even up here. You can put your trailing stop right, above this candle. So now you can't lose this trade, right? You can't lose it. So let's do that. Let's put it in play. Bang. That's what we're waiting for, right? So number one, you passed your 10 pip TP for the day, right? So you passed your goal for the day. Number two, looks like you're getting double that, right? So if we take our measuring tool and we measure this is 20 pips right here. You just doubled your goal. You know what I'm saying? So again, you can choose to close the trade now. What you can do is, me personally, I'll put my trailing stop at my goal, right? So my trailing stop is at 10 pips. Let's erase that. Let's put it in play. Got smacked, right? So, you could have closed the trade out, or you could have just waited for it to come up. It's really your choice. That's not something for me to tell you. It's your money. I personally just put the trailing stop here for just in case I forget or in case I get distracted. But something like this, I am watching the trade, right? So if we look at this, let me take it from the top. We ended up coming down a total of 27 pips. So, this is a really smooth move because, out of 27 pips, you can definitely catch your 10, as you can see. Definitely catch your 10, right? So what I'm going to do is just going to go over this move one more time, just in case you missed the confirmations. So the confirmations that we had was, hey, on a 15-minute, just in case you missed it. All right, confirmation that we had was, listen, we got this trend line coming up, right? Price broke the trend line, came up, made a lower high, right? It made a lower high. Boom. On top of that, the lower high is in our Fibonacci golden zone, right? This is the golden zone for the Fibonacci for retracements, right? Perfect sniper entry. On top of that, we have these tweezer tops, right? So what's that? The third confirmation? Tweezer tops. We have price action. We have break of structure. We have all the above. We have rejections off the EMA. There's so many confirmations that was telling you that, hey, price wants to go bearish. You know what I mean? So, you definitely want to look at how many confirmations you have, because that just makes your trade, a higher percent chance of winning. We like high percent chance. I can't even talk. We like high percent trades, right? We like to take those 90% trades, not no 20% trades, not a guessing trade. This was a, hey, okay, price is showing me that it wants to go bearish. All right, so if I go back live and I delete this zone, let's see what price is doing. Price is consolidating. Now it's looking like it wants to break up, but, I got in my trade for today. So, I'm not looking to take a move. but I could follow price, right? So what I'm doing is I'm putting my support at the bottom, putting my resistance at the top. We don't like consolidation. We like it for breakouts, but me personally, price got to get up out of this area for me to take another trade. I'm not really comfortable with consolidation like this. There's no form of structure yet. So, I just let price play out and do what it wants to do. All right, so that's GJ for now. Let's hop over to gold. Gold had a fun trade today. I'm going to show you why. If we go over to the news, you're going to see that we had unemployment claims at 8:30, right? So, if you know the economy, you have to keep up with what's going on in the world. If you're a Forex trader, if you're any type of trader, you need to be aware of the news. It may sound boring, but, it does affect the market. So unemployment claims is very important because that's based off of jobs. That's based off of income. That's literally the economy, right? So unemployment claims was bad, right? So what's that mean? It's bad. So that means the dollar is going to be strong. Why? Because if people are losing their jobs, that means it's hard to get your hand on a dollar, right? And if it's hard to get your hand on a dollar, then the dollar should go up. The value goes up, right? I always use the example. Think about diamonds. Think about things that are rare, designer stuff, all that expensive stuff. It's not something the everyday person has. It's rare. That's why the price is up. So relating that back to unemployment claims being rare, when people are losing jobs, when people can't make money, money becomes rare, right? So the value of the dollar goes up, right? So that is why we had this beautiful push up right here in the dollar. You see it pushing up right here. Now on my stream earlier, I put this. I said, hey, if DXY goes bullish, which it did, as you can see here, I can't get my arrow. As you can see here, it went bullish. Then gold will be bearish, right? So let's check on gold. Bang. If I put this in replay mode, this was the exact time. This was the exact push. If I put my cursor here, 8:30 was when the news was. Go back to the dollar. Put my cursor here, 8:30. See that? All right. So, it is very important to know the correlations and how this correlates. So if I put it in replay mode and I take this away, I'm going to show you how you could have caught this news drop. Right. So when I first came on the charts, let's see, 7 o'clock. It's about right here. I'm just going to replay it back to 7 just so you can see a clear picture. There we go. All right. So when I came on, I said, okay, price is at this resistance zone. Price made a double bottom, right? I had some people in my Discord get in some sniper entries down here at these buys, but I wasn't awake then. So I did miss that move, but this would have been a beautiful move on this double bottom, right? So I said, okay, we got unemployment news, so let me just wait. So I let price play out a little bit, right? I seen this happen. Seen this little formation. So I'm going to clear off the chart here. Let's go to the 5-minute. What do you see? What do you see on the 5-minute? You see a double top. Bang, bang, right there. You see that in the 5-minute. All right. It doesn't mean that price has to go bearish, but, if we're relating this back to the news, this is at 7:55. So let's go to 8 o'clock. Okay. At 8 o'clock, price is rejecting to go down. So I'm just going to put a little support in here. Right. Saying, okay, we crossed this border. Let's check it out. All right, that's 8:10 coming up towards the news. That's 8:15. So now I'm like, what is price doing? What is it doing? Gold is very volatile, so I do like to look at it on the 5-minute. So now I'm like, all right, if we break up above this zone, we're going bullish. If we break below this zone, we're going bearish, right? Now I'm just waiting for the news. So this is 8:15, got about 15 more minutes. Let's check out 8:20. Okay, price is coming back down, 8:25. All right. So now you're like, okay, the next candle is going to show us what's going on with the news. You have your support and resistance. Let's go back on the 15-minute. Let's check out this pattern. Now I'm going to adjust my zones. What do you see here? If I take away the double, remember we had a double top. What do you see? You see a whole bunch of wick rejections to the top side, right? You see 1, 2, 3, especially these two. Look at these wick rejections. Price is rejecting to push through the zone. That's number one. So let's go back to the 5 minutes. So I'm gonna keep that in mind. Let's go to the next candle. Okay, now we have a major rejection. Also, you can think of this as a kangaroo stick if you want, if you like to trade those. So this is at 8:35. So this is 5 minutes after the news. And what I always say is, especially with gold and these USD pairs, a lot of times we see that price likes to react a little bit after the news, right? So not exactly at the drop, but maybe a couple minutes after, or maybe at 9 o'clock, maybe a half hour after, right? Sometimes even 10 o'clock. So I'm like, okay, price is really, really not trying to go up. Also, I'm looking at this as a fake out, right? To me, that's gold faking out. Why? Because, if you know the history of news, you know that it likes to wick all the time. That's all it does. It does a wick fake out, and then it goes in the direction that it's supposed to go in, right? So if we did a fake out, obviously we got to come down now. That's number one. Number two, if we go to the news, bang, you had 5 minutes to look at this, right? 5 minutes. It doesn't take 5 minutes to look at this. It literally takes 2 seconds to say, okay, unemployment claims was bad. What does that mean? Once again, that means the dollar is going to go up. So by knowing the dollar is going to go up, now in your head, again, it only takes 5 minutes. Now in your head, you already know, hey, gold is going to crash, right? Because the dollar is going to go up, right? And if you don't understand what that means, it means this. If the dollar goes up, right, USD, what does that mean for gold? Gold has to come down, right? That's how news works. So if you're not sure which way it moves, you always look at the first in the pair. Gold is first in this pair, right? So that means we're going to come down. All right. So you always want to look, and this goes for any other pair, right? If you get confused, all you have to do is just put your up and down arrows. It's just a tip from me. And then you just look at what's first in the pair. This is first in the pair. Okay. So this is what we're doing. We're going down. All right. So let's hop back over here. Let's see what happens. Now you should be prepared to go down. So if you're prepared to go down, again, you have 5 minutes to do this. You can put a support here, if you want to get a quick scalp. But because it's news, you should already know we're getting that volume, right? We're going to get that volume. So this is what you could do. You say, okay, if price breaks this zone, then take an impulse entry. You can take an impulse entry to 10 pips. You can take an impulse entry to 15 pips, whatever you want to do. This is 30 pips right here. So let's say we did that, right? You don't have to put your stop up here. That is ridiculous. Me personally, I just put my stop above this candle, 12 pips. Let's see what happens. Bang, smacked, just like that. You know what I'm saying? And again, you have 5 minutes to do this. So to me, that's plenty of time to be like, okay, click, bad news, go back, input your order, right? Put your stop loss in, put your TP in at 30. Sorry, this is 30, right? And then you're all set. You may be wondering, Lins, how come you didn't go TP to 31 or 32? Well, for me, I like to count my money when I trade, and I like to make it easy for myself. So I do like those whole numbers. Like I'll go for 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I like to go for those numbers that count with fives. JK, I see you. RT Forex, what's going on? I see you. But so that's how you could have caught this news outbreak. Also, if you're a trend line trader, just for my trend line people, you could have just did this as well. Could have said, okay, when price breaks below here, I'll take a quick scalp, stops above the candle. You could have did that as well. Sometimes I use that strategy, but again, gold is very volatile, especially during news. So if you're a newbie, if you're a new trader, I don't recommend it. But if you're someone a little bit more experienced, nothing wrong with getting your feet wet. Also, if you're trading gold, you definitely, if you're not swing trading it, you definitely want to be paying attention because, like I said, it does move really fast. So, you could have easily, if you didn't put in your TP, you could have looked away from the chart and been like, oh, shoot, I'm only up 8 pips. You know what I mean? So, we'll go back live here. Let's see how this played out. You see how this played out? It actually went past 30 pips, right? We came all the way down here to 58 pips, right? This is 58. I don't know about y'all, but 58 pips would have been nice for me today. You know what I mean? So that's nice. But Now we did have price retrace up, right? It retraced up here. I'm sure a lot of people took some impulse sells here. They've probably seen it as tweezer tops and just take another impulse entry, right? I personally wouldn't do it because after I get in on a news trade, I'm done. You know, I'm not messing with it. I'm not fooling with it. But if I drag this down, wrong drag. If I drag it down, price did go down 71 pips, right, from the top of here. 71 pips is a lot. You can't tell me that you can't catch 10 pips out of 71. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? So let's delete that. If we go to gold right now, let me take a look at it. What do you see? You see a correction, right? So right now, what price just did was price just corrected this unemployment claim drop, right? Price just made a whole correction. You know, so there's a lot of traders out there who they like to trade news corrections. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I actually want to show you a bigger news correction. Check this out. If I go on daily here, check this out. So NFP, for those who don't know, is the biggest trading day of the month, right? Check this out. Last month, this was NFP, this huge drop. This was on one day, you know, and then it continued the next day, but still this huge drop. I think it was like over 300 pips. It might have been 500 pips. Let's just measure this out. That's 1,200 pips. Jeez, 1,200 pips. Listen, you know, and we have NFP next week, by the way, next Friday. So what I'm trying to show you is news corrections are huge. Why? If you knew that this was NFP, the next week, I believe this was Monday, because I remember graphing this out. I said, okay, to my chat, I said, listen, you know, we're supposed to come up to correct this news drop. Now, if we bring it up to date, look where we're at now. Look where we are. We're way up here. We're correcting this entire NFP news drop. You see that? So, you know, like I said, if you're not big into news, it's okay. But it is good to have the knowledge of, okay, how does the news affect the chart? Look at this swing up. Look at it. You know, and this isn't like a guess. This is just me knowing like, okay, you know, we have to correct this news drop. We have to, you know, so it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Again, you know, a smart way to trade these is breakouts, right? You see this triangular pendant right there. You see another triangular pendant right here. You know, we're just breaking to the top side. And what does it look like now? What do you see now? Tell me what you see now. It's a possibility, right? It's a possibility we're doing it again, right? Don't be surprised. All right. So, you know, like I said, it's good to be able to use multi time frame analysis, right? You want to be able to switch around and understand what's going on in every single time frame. You know what I mean? Because it's just going to make you a better trader, right? A better trader all around. So if we're looking at this, this is just simple price action. This is just a break of resistance right here. It's an impulse move, and it's just filling out this wick. You know, it's just a wick fill. Again, not my typical type of entry, but you know, it is there. So, all right, so that's gold. Let's hop down to USD CAD. Let's see here. You know, I honestly haven't traded USD CAD in a little while, but I'm just going to show you what the news did. So if we backtrack this and we go right here, right before the news drop, what do we see? We see price made a double bottom, right? Possibly, right? We possibly have that. You can even make a trend line here. And I always say to clone your trend lines. Why? Because trend lines should be parallel, right? So if they're parallel, they should be at the exact angle. So I'm just putting this at the neckline. If you know your double bottoms, you know that price crosses at the neckline to go bullish, right? Now this is hypothetical because remember, this is right before the news. So you don't know if the news is going to be bullish or bearish. But what we do know is we know that USD CAD moves the opposite of gold, right? It moves the same as the dollar, and it moves the opposite of Euro USD, GU, you know, all those pairs. So if our bias was that those pairs were going to be bearish, then our bias over here should be that this is going to be bullish, correct? So if we put this in play, this was the news drop. And, it may not be that many pips, but, if you knew, if we go on a 5-minute here, this was 8:30. This is 8:35. Once again, if you like USD CAD, you had 5 minutes before this candle even started, because this was the news candle, the small one, the doji. This was the next candle after the news 5 minutes later. So again, you could have took an impulse buy here as well, just by knowing that USD is going to be strong based off of that news drop. All right. So I just wanted to point that out. Sometimes, like I said, it's just about being patient. You don't have to take that impulse entry here at 8:30. You can wait a couple minutes and see, okay, what was the news? Let me figure out which trade I want to take. You know what I mean? You do have 5 minutes. So, I just wanted to point that one out. But let's see. And then Bitcoin had a beautiful drop. This was last night. Yeah. So if you look at Bitcoin, I'm going to show it to you on the hour. Check this out. Last night, if you just put your little trend line here, and even if you like pendants, you could have looked at this in a pendant breakout way as well. Check this out. All you had to do was be patient. You could set up a price alert. Say you want to add a price alert like right here, just add an alert. That's all you had to do. You know what I mean? You didn't have to do anything. The work is done for you. You're just waiting for price to break out, right? And another way to look at this is this. Check this out. So we have it this way as well. For those of you who like these are the complicated ones though. These get really, really complicated. So this is like a mega, like a mega pendant, all right? It's very rare that you see these, but if you spot them, you spot them. So check this out. What this was a fake out. Let me delete this because this is in the way. Right? So we had price break up here. It made a fake out. That's the fake out. So if you know that price is faking out, right? And if you know that, hey, I could line this resistance up with this whole area, right? Then you see price crashing down on the hourly too. On the hourly, it broke past the EMA. Remember, the higher the time frame, the higher the probability, right? The more you're going to be correct on your trade if you use the higher time frames. Crash through the 50 EMA. We're at resistance. We're even, right? Remember that trend line I had? We even broke the trend line. If I zoom in, check out this doji. What does doji do? Technically, this retested the trend line. This on a smaller time frame is a lower high. All right, I'm actually going to show it to you. I haven't seen it, to be honest, on the 5 minute or the 1 minute, but I just know what it is. So that's just based off of understanding how the candlesticks move, right? Check this out. It's kind of a double top as well, right? On the 5 minute, price came up, retested it again, broke through, right? So if you wanted, you could have took an impulse entry here, right? Let me go to higher time frames so you can see a little better. You could have took an impulse entry here at the break, but let's say you're a more conservative trader. Let's say you were second guessing yourself and you wasn't sure what to do, right? Well, we'll take it in that perspective. Like you're a newer trader. Let's delete this. Then you could have said, okay, if it is a fake out, if it's truly a fake out, price should come crashing down all the way to the bottom of here, right? That's what you should say. So if it does that, it has to pass this line again, right? It has to. So you could have put, your sell stop right here. You could have put in a pendant order. You could have said, okay, let me put in a pendant order here. Let's put my stop loss here. Yes, that's 442 pips. Yes, I know this is talking about big swing trade right here. I would never recommend it personally. I would scalp it. I would get in at a better entry. But let's just say you did that. You could have did this. I mean, that's 1,747 pips. I mean, come on now, do the math. You gotta do the math. What is that? $1,700 if you had a 0.01 lot. $1,700. Now I know there's a lot of people watching right now using a 0.01 lot that can't even get higher than a 0.01 lot. But guess what? You know, that's what you could get from scalping Bitcoin. That's some serious money. I'm just saying, that's some serious money, you know? And I do have a video on my channel on this Bitcoin scalp that I took live on stream, and it was $600 with a 0.01 lot. So, you know, like I said, any beginner can, you know, use these strategies. They work out pretty well. Just saying. Basic Narc, Gems as always. I see you, Joseph. How much money is a pip? How do you predict stop loss level? Risky day. All right, so we'll start with how much money is a pip, right? So it depends on what you're trading. It depends on what you're trading. So if we go back to, let's go back to GJ, right? If you're looking at, let's say GJ, EU, you know, GBP, USD, USD CAD, all those basic pairs, right? Let's look at your lot size here. This is the smallest lot you can use, right? A 0.01 is 10 cents a pip. Okay? That's how much it is. So when you ask how much is a pip, you know, it's a broad question because it depends on your lot size, right? And you can use a 0.02, which would be 20 cents. You could use a 0.03, that would be 30 cents, right? And you can work your way up, right? So what, we'll just skip all those. We'll just go to 0.05, right? That would be 50 cents a pip. Okay. Now, if we move this up a little bit, let's just move it up to 0.10. Let's move it up. All right. That is $1 per pip. Okay. We're going to skip that. We're going to go to 0.5. Once again, you know, there's 0.2, there's 0.3, 0.4, you know, there's so many numbers in between. You could even do 0.33. You know, I don't care. You could use whatever number you want, but I'm just skipping for time purposes, right? 0.5 is $5 a pip. Okay. Let's skip 0.6, 0.7. Let's go to a standard lot. Standard lot is $10 a pip. All right. So, you know, these, you know, I'm assuming that most people are somewhere between here and here. I'm a lot higher than that with my lot size, but, you know, that's because, you know, I put in the time and I put in the work. You know, I used to be here and I never, let me tell you something. I never thought I'd make it above here. Never. I was struggling. You know what I mean? I was struggling with a 0.1, you know, emptying my account and all that. And just, y'all don't know, you know, it's a whole journey, you know, but, you know, sooner or later, the more you practice, the more you put in the work, you'll work yourself up to a 10 lot, to a 20 lot, you know, and so on. And, you know, sooner or later, that won't even be 3% of your account. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, hard work pays off. Let's see what this next question was. How do you predict stop loss? Yeah, so that's a good question. So your risk, right? Your risk, how do you predict your stop loss? Your risk should be how much you can risk, right? So if you're asking the way I personally trade, my favorite pair is GJ, this pair right here. The way that I trade GJ, okay, I don't swing trade it, I day trade it. Typically, my stop losses range between 10 to 15 pips. And if I can be completely honest with you, if you watch my streams, and those of you who are here to watch me, you already know my risk is barely over 10 pips. And it's just based off of where I get my entries. It's really based off of how I trade. It's not on purpose. I'm just telling you like the average. It's very rare that I even get up to 10 pips. It's rare that I get up to 15 pips of a risk. But, you know, the way I trade, I always use 10 pips as a max. All right. So if I know that 10 pips is my max that I want to risk, you know, I can relate that back to my lot sizes, right? If I'm risking 10 pips, what is that? What a standard lot? That's $10 a pip. So 10 times 10, that means I'm risking $100 per trade. All right. So what you have to do is you have to do the math out, right? If you see that you're risking 20 pips, then you need to bring it back over to your lot size and do the math and say, okay, how much money am I risking? You know what I mean? And that's why I say, keep it simple. I know people like to use numbers like a point, 0.25 is fine, but like say like you use a 0.23 lot size. Well, now you're making it harder on you to count your money because you're using a 0.23, right? Me, I like solid numbers. So if you see, I go with the ones, I go with the fives because it's just easy for me to count my money. So that's just a suggestion. You don't have to do it, And my stop losses are typically, say if I'm taking a sell, let's have an example here. So like the sell I just took here. This sell, this impulse entry, right? If you took a sell here, I have my stops above the last candle, above the last high, right? But I took my sell over here. So where's my stop loss? Above the high. That's just, it really depends on how I'm trading. You can't really ask me what my stop loss is and compare it to yours. You have to back test and, put in that time on the charts. Put in that time, back test your strategy, see what strategy works for you. Then you know where you like your stop losses. It's trial and error. Which time frame follows the best price action? You got to back test. You got to back test to see what works best for you. Thanks. LOL, exactly the same. Never in a million years did I think I'd get to where I am. Same with you. Yeah, for sure, for sure. How many pips do you target for daily swing trade? See, Abi, you're asking a lot of general questions. So if you're asking me how many pips I target, I mean, that's my personal goal. You know what I mean? So you should have a personal goal for yourself. So if you want to go for 10 pips, go for 10 pips. You want to go for 20, go for 20. But I'm not a swing trader, so I personally can't answer the swing trade question. I'm a day trader. But like I said, it's really important that we learn how to think for ourselves, right? Because if you can't think for yourself as a trader, you're not going to make it in trading. You're not. And, I used to have the same questions as you. And I used to get confused when people would answer me sarcastically. And I figured it out. I'm like, oh, I can answer my own question. So a lot of people like to ask about what's your lot size? What's this and that? I'll tell you right now, my lot size is bigger than a 10, right? But that's because my account is bigger than yours, right? So that doesn't mean that you go use a 10 lot, right? Because you don't have the same leverage that I have. You know what I mean? I always recommend risk 1 to 3%. Okay, 1 to 3%. That's a healthy amount to risk. Why? I'll show you why. Let's say you have $100 in your account, right? Say you have a $100 balance. If you're risking 1%, that means 1% is $1. So that means the most you can lose in one trade is $1. All right. So if we relate that back to the lot sizes here, that means you can only use a 0.01 lot. Right? If you use a 0.01 lot, because that's 10 cents times 10, we're just going to average it. Let's say your stop loss is 10 pips on average, like mine. With an average of a 10 pip stop loss, that's $1. Right? So that means you can only use a 0.01 if you're risking 1% of a $100 account. Why? Because you have to lose 100 times to empty your account. And you should not be losing 100 times in a row. I'm just saying, you shouldn't. If you are, then you really need to stop trading, go back to that book, go back to those videos, rewatch it again, reread the book again, read it 3 times, 4 times. I don't care. I read Naked Forex like 5, 6 times. And it wasn't because I didn't understand. I just wanted to read it again. And sometimes I brush up, so if you're not putting in the work on the charts, you can't really expect the results. Like, those who know me personally, they know I'll be up here like 4 or 5 hours after stream back testing. Still, I back test still, so, you just got to really put in that time. How for Fibonacci, if it passes on the level slightly, do you still wait for confirmations? Asking in general. Good question. Good question. So that's a good question. You know why? I'm going to show you because I did just put a fib over here. Let me go back. So if we go back to right here, right where I drew my fib at, show you something. If I could get the fib. All right, let's check this out. I really do like the Fibonacci, by the way. It's a tool that I've grown to use. I didn't like it at first. When I first started trading, didn't like it at all. I was like, what is this? but I love it now. So you have to really have an eye for it. You can't use it everywhere. But what you were asking if you have to have a double top or a double bottom. If you look here, this never formed a double top or double bottom. This was just a straight up like into the zone, retracement, boom, impulse entry, move down, right? So no, to answer your question, no, it does not have to have one, right? It doesn't have to do it. Can it do it? Yeah. I mean, that makes it better, right? It makes you feel more confident about your trade, but will it most likely? Nah. You know, you can't really predict that. So sometimes you just have these straight move down, you know? And if you want to scalp this, you know, like I said, this is where I took my entry right here. Another break of structure, right? My stop was below the high. I told you my stop was about 6 pips. All right. So again, even looking at this on the 3-minute, you can see price action. I love price action. Look at the break, right? Look at the break of support here, right? There's just so many confirmations. And if you're looking at the 5-minute, you know, that was a rejection once again. We put it in play, bang. You know, so like I said, you don't have to have a double top or a double bottom or whatever. Fib. And you can also use Fibonacci's to go bullish now. Don't get it twisted. Check this out. This looks like one. Yeah. So if let's see, I'm going to take this away just so you can see it. Check that out. Check that out. Yeah. Now let's look at this on the 15. Bang. You know, sometimes we have candles like this. So this is a bullish Fibonacci. This is the opposite, right? So we have our low. We have our high. Right? If I zoom in, probably have to go to the 5-minute so you can see it a little better. Right? So price came up, retraced down. We're looking for that golden zone touch. Bang. Bull move up, right? Sweet push up. Check that out. So, you know, you take an impulse entry. What was that, 19 pips? You know what I mean? So if we look in here, we didn't have a double bottom or anything like that. You know, we just had consolidation. So hopefully that answers your question. Able to show you both ways there. Also, we do have a bounce off the 50 EMA. Look at that. Look at that. You know, so I don't typically, those who watch me, you know, I usually don't even have this on. I'm pretty much a naked trader. This week, I actually turned it on just to help other people because they asked about it. But I actually don't really use the EMA. But it is there. Same thing with the RSI. It's here, but I'm going to tell you right now, I barely look at it. You know, a lot of times if you see my stream, it's off like that. You know, but sometimes I do like to look at it because it does show you when there's too many buyers and too many sellers in the market. So it is a good reference to go off of. How do you count commissions or spreads with your 1 to 3% risk management? To be honest with you, it's funny. See, a lot of people ask me about spreads. Where I'm at now in trading, you know, I've passed my goal and where I want to be in trading, right? So because I passed my goal, I already have the brokers that I want to trade with. So no matter what, I already have my set broker. I already have my set, you know, risk for the day. Like I'm just on automatic now. So I honestly, I don't want to tell you I don't pay attention to it anymore, but I literally don't even look at it. The only thing I look at is these charts. And I say, okay, this is a good trade. This isn't a good trade. This is how much I'm going to risk. That's it. I'm not really looking at the spread like that. I know a lot of people ask about it, but like I said, I've gone through different brokers. I have my set broker that I like to trade with. I have different accounts and I'm just kind of like a robot. I'm on automatic. So like I said, you never really see me risk more than 10 pips. So I already know how much money I'm risking in my mind. I already know my lot size in my mind. I already know, you know what I mean? So all that stuff is irrelevant because I'm focused on the trade, you know, and that's why I'm consistent because I'm focused on getting a good trade, right? I'm not jumping in the market like I used to, you know, none of those things. You make it seem easy. Oh, it's not easy. It's not easy. Trust me. It's simple, but it's not easy. I know that only happens when you put in the work. Yeah. Like I said, when I'm done with this stream, guess what I'm going to do? After I walk my puppy, I'm back up here and I'm back testing for another 4 or 5 hours. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. So a lot of people ask questions, but how many people are really up here every day back testing, right? How many people are really putting in that work? hitting us with 30 plus slaps. What was the last of your question? Grinding does it take to get to such level? Yeah, it takes a lot of grind. You know, a lot of people, they see you do the trades and like, oh, wow, like you're pretty good, but they don't see the hard work behind it. Like they don't see how many hours you put in on the charts, right? You didn't see the accounts I was emptying. I used to empty my account back to back to back, you know? So, you know, I've been in your shoes, trust me. Vibes. Your broker is, well, I have a few different brokers actually. I can't tell you what the best broker is for India because I don't live in India. I live in the US of A. How can you determine when's a decent move for NFP? Good question. So NFP is next week. If you haven't traded it before, don't trade it. Number one. Number two, watch it because it'll probably scare you. If you've never seen it live, it's going to scare you. I promise. Them candles fly. If I put the simulator, let's go to gold because gold had a nasty NFP week. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. Let me show you something. Yep, August 6th. I'm going to show you the simulator. Check this out. All right, we're going to put the playback speed down a little bit. We're going to go to the 15-minute. Right. So by the way, the reason the charts are acting the way they're acting right now is because they're consolidating for NFP next week because it's about to blow up again. So check this out. We go to 15-minute. This is 7:45 in the morning. So let me put a marker. NFP is at 8:30, the first Friday of every month. Never changes. 8:30. All right. So you got about 45 minutes. So what do you see here? You see that price has a high over here. It has a low over here. Now, when I tell you this, just know this strategy does not always work because I've had it where price tested both and opened up both my orders. So you don't want that. Trust me. All right, so check this out. Let's put it in play. Bang. 8:15. All right. So one more candle and it's the news drop, right? So now you're probably like on the tip of your toes here because this moves crazy. So we put this, we'll keep this here. I know some people, they like to use the 30-minute and they say, okay, let me put a sell stop below. Let me put a buy stop above. Those of you who watch Wicks Don't Lie, I believe Raja did the same thing and he closed his trade, but Raja from Wicks Don't Lie, I believe he did this exact same thing on NFP if you go to his channel. All right, but I was live during NFP. All right, so for my visual learners, these are positions. All right. Now, here's the crazy thing about this. You don't know where to put your stop loss. You don't know. No one can answer that question for you. Nobody. All right, so, and this is gold. Keep that in mind. This is gold. So we want to jump back on the hour. Let's zoom out here. Where's our TP going to be? Well, it just showed us there, but hold on. You never know. Like I said, it's a guessing game, NFP. Sometimes it's a guessing game. So if we zoom out, you know, we do have these support areas down here. All right. And if we zoom out, we have these resistance area right here. All right. So that's where we're going to put our TPs. So let's do it. Like I said, you just don't know where to put your stop loss. So that's a 47 pip TP, and you know gold moves hundreds. Literally, it's always like about 200 pips during NFP. It's crazy. All right, and this is like 40. All right, so those are your stop orders, right? Buy stop, sell stop. Everyone got that? Again, this is the tricky part. You don't know where to put your stop loss. You just don't. And there's no one that can really tell you, hey, this is a good spot for a stop loss. No one can tell you that. So that's the tricky part. So let's just put it in play. Right about, okay, it's 8:15. Bang. All right, this is NFP. Oh, no, it's not. I'm sorry. I lied. 2 more candles. 1, 2. Bang. You see how quick that was? I know this is replay mode, but the way that it just showed was the way that it happened live. I promise you. I'm going to do it one more time. This is exactly what happened when it was live. It moved fast like this. Like that. So the reason you have buy and sell stops during NFP news is because you do not have time to press the buy or sell button. I promise you, the price you get in for the market is going to be so much higher. The spread is higher. Everything is just higher. You know what I mean? So like I said, if we zoom out here, I just let it play out just so you can see it. Look at it. It just completely all day, just crashed and crashed and crashed. It was ridiculous. Fun fact, I ended up entering again right here. I didn't catch the original drop. I did have a sell stop and then I deleted it right before the news because I was like, I don't feel like trading it this time, but I did get this. If you're wondering, I got that. All right, we'll go back live. What was the next question? Do you backtest the same setups you were using or new ones? I backtest my strategy. That's what I backtest. How do you look for news? How do you look for news? Right here, Forex Factory. So when you go here, you can actually click on the calendar and you can choose any day that you want, and it tells you the news. If you want to know how to if you want to know how do you look for news, you know, it's not for me to put in the hard work on the charts. It's for you to get on these charts and go here and go into history and see, okay, when's the last time that news dropped? Actually, you can literally click on it, click on the folder. Look, the last time this dropped was May 7th, February 25th, November 25th. So you can get on your chart and you can backtest and you can go back to these dates and you can see what happened during the news drop, right? And then you can see what happened after the news drop. You know what I mean? So a lot of people ask questions, but they don't want to put in the hard work. It's kind of like when you're in school and you study for a test and someone wants to know the answers to the test, but they don't want to go read the book. You know, you got to put in that work, you know, and the people who put in the work are the people who are going to see the results, right? Those are the people who are going to see the results. Appreciate it. No problem. No problem. That's what we're here for. Any other questions? You should do the daily morning show. You're a good teacher. I stream live every morning. I'm live every morning. Thank you, Joseph. I appreciate that. Every morning on my channel, I'm live. 7 a.m. Let's see. Let's delete these. That was the NFP talk. Just curious what GJ is doing now. Yeah, see, I don't like this consolidation. I don't like that. So this is something I would stay away from, you know? What's your channel? Just look up OfficialLins. OfficialLins on YouTube. Let's see. All right, we gotta talk about US 30. I forgot all about US 30, y'all. We were talking about gold so much. All right. This is an interesting one. Honestly, I didn't look at US 30 today, so this is news to me. Let's see. Back. I just want to see what happened during the news. Okay. So it didn't have much of effect, right? So if we put this in replay mode, this was the news drop today. Wasn't much, but you know, we do have this pin bar at the top as well. Let's go to the 5 minute. You know, if you look at the chart from this perspective, it's not too bad. Also, if we take a Fibonacci, let's see. Let's just try it. Let's take it from the high. Take Fibonacci from the high, right? Need my paintbrush. We got a high here. We got a low here. Right, price came up, retest. We're in that golden zone area. So look, so I'm going to show you something. So when price passed my golden zone, my fib is invalid. I don't use it. That's when I delete it. I'm like, oh, okay, bye fib, delete it. You know what I mean? Because it's invalid. It went past the golden zone. So now I got to look at it again, like, all right, what's going on here? So it's 850. Okay, 855. 9 o'clock. What is this? 9:05. Now it's almost looking like a double top type of thing. And it may even be a tweezer top on a higher time frame. Sort of. Look at that. You know, look at these rejections up here. It's a lot of rejections to go up, right? And then look at this. It's almost like a fake out. You know? So me personally, if you're asking if, hey, how do you know not to take a buy here? Like, how did you know? Because remember, when this candle forms, this candle was blue. This candle was blue and it was pushing up, right? It probably looked like this at first, right? The first half of it. But me, I like to wait till candles close past a zone, right? So when I say close past the zone, I'm going to put a zone here in a 15-minute. Let's see. Nope. All right, close past the zone, right? So this candle closed past this zone. Did it close past way further than I thought? Yes. So I wouldn't take the trade. But let's say if it closed right here, you know, then I'd be looking for the next one for a sell. But it didn't do that. What I'm trying to say is you would not have taken an impulse buy here because none of these candles close past the zone. They're all wicking. You know what I mean? And you don't want to get in the habit of taking trades in the middle of wicks, right? Unless that's your strategy. Hey, if that's your strategy and you're profitable and you're consistent and it's working for you, then I can't say nothing. But it's just advice, right? So check this out. Like I was saying, I wait for candles to close past the zone, right? Not the wick, the body of the candle, this rectangular part. That's check one. Check two is I wait to see what the next candle does. And usually on my stream, I always tell everyone, you know, wait for that wick up rejection. Right, once the candle formed this wick up rejection, impulse entry right here. You know what I'm saying? And for those of you asking about stops, you know, my stop would go above the wick rejection, right? And again, this is US 30, so this is 37 pips. This ain't nothing to play with. If you can't play with 37 pips as your stop loss, you should not be trading. All right. Hey, Moses, I see you. I see you. Hey, Moses, if you don't mind, go ahead and put my stream link in the chat for Joseph there. But you know what I'm saying? So, you know, this is a really good entry. And then you could put your stop loss, you know, right there at break even. For me, you know, my stop loss has to be at least a pip in because I have a bigger lot size. So I got to account for my lot size, right? I can't put my stop loss at break even because the charges will still be charged, right? Those of you who trade, you know what I'm talking about. So you know, you look at this, those for like trend line trader could have did this, right? Or could have been like me, those state trend lines, right? Bang. Right. So I'm looking for price to break, right? I'm looking for price to break the trend line, number one. Number two, I'm waiting for this candle to close. Number three, I'm waiting for the next candle to show me that it's rejecting to go up, right? So that's how I would take my impulse entry. I would immediately put my stop at break even right here. All right, so now it's a stress-free trade. Very, very stress-free. If we zoom out and we look left, what do we have here? We have a support right here. So, you know, you could have made your TP 70 pips, right? Now tell me, how much work did that take me? Did I make it seem easy? Because it's not easy. But if you practice, right, and you get up here and you really study, then it'll come a little bit easier to you, right? A little bit easier than what it was before, right? You're going to start to see more trades. All right, but, you know, that's all I really have today for y'all. I really do appreciate y'all asking the questions and coming out. Ready where you are, Nick. I'm all set.
Hey guys, thanks for watching today's show. I hope you enjoyed it. And before you go, make sure to check out our guest today and also subscribe to the A1 Trading YouTube channel if you have not already. Risk Calculator is a risk management tool built specifically for MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5 to help you position size properly. Their easy to use software will allow you to enter and exit positions with lot sizes that are calculated for you, suited to your risk management settings that you allow for the tool. This is a big thing because a lot of us struggle with over leveraging or accidentally taking a position size too big, and Risk Calculator is there to help. Like I said, with the click of a few buttons, you're able to set your trade and the lot size will automatically be calculated for you so that it suits your risk management plan. In addition to actually setting your trades with the proper lot size, it also allows you to manage your trades as they're going along. Things like trailing stops, moving stops to break even, or even partial take profits are all tools or features available with the Risk Calculator functions that are available on MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5. If you're interested in checking out Risk Calculator, there's a link down below in the description. And if you use that link, it does help to support what we do here on the channel, which is provide free trading content, again, by the thanks to the help of our sponsors. So thanks so much for watching today. Again, make sure to subscribe to us here on YouTube if you haven't already, and we'll see you back in the next one.